and welcome to this week's YouTube video. Most people think that realism equals more detail, but this is not true. Correct drawing and value accounts for the majority of how realistic an image feels. The drawing doesn't have to be detailed. A blurry painting can look realistic, just that the structure of the drawing needs to be correct. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I managed to get this recent cat commission to look realistic with very little detail, just by focusing on my values, temperatures and edges. So let's get started. How to see your reference photo. Every object is just a collection of shapes. You need to train your eye to see these shapes rather than an eye, nose, ear, etc. What can you do to help you see these shapes? Turn your reference photo upside down and also your painting. This way you'll begin to see the shapes. You could even try doing the whole painting this way, and then when you're finished, see how well your painting reads when you turn it the right way round again. Drawing. Get your basic shapes onto your canvas. You just need the obvious shapes such as the head, ears, eyes and any obvious markings. We do not need to mark in too much details. I will not be trying to paint every hair. Tips to help you get your drawing correct. You can use the grid method, you can trace it, you can project the image onto your canvas. If you want to practice your drawing, try doing it freehand, then use another method to check you are right before you start. Remember, most drawings don't fail in the details, they fail in the big shapes. Values. Getting the light and dark relationships correct is very important. Remember, the eye reads form through value first. If I turn my photo into black and white, you will see I have very little value shifts in my browns. Creating form will be hard here, as I will have to create it with temperature shifts in my browns. In my whites, you can clearly see a range of values from white to much darker areas over this side. If my painting looks off, my first port of call will be to check my values, as it will be likely I haven't gone dark enough in these areas. Edges. Edge variety will give me realism. What do I mean by this? I need a combination of hard, soft and lost edges. How do I achieve a variety of edges? Hard edges. You can achieve these quite easily with a variety of brushes, such as round brushes and flat edge brushes. For the eyes, I used a small round brush to give me maximum control. You need a moderate amount of paint on your brush depending upon how much control you need. Soft edges. This is achieved by a variety of methods. Brush selection is important. A brush that allows you to pull paint is preferable. I used either these long-haired combers or these flat brushes. The flat brushes work best if they have a sharper edge, as it allows you to use them a little like mini palette knives. Imagine you're buttering toast. Creating this soft edge here was really hard because my value goes from light to dark. Therefore, I had to add a mid-range value. I used cerulean blue, added that plus cadmium yellow light to my white and pulled it into my chair fabric. White paint can also be problematic because it can be quite stiff. If you are struggling with this, then add some solvent to your brush, wipe off the excess and add a little paint. Then pull it across your paint. You get one go at this. Do not attempt it again when dealing with white until you've cleaned your brush. Lost edges. It's best to attempt lost edges where you have similar values together, like in this area up here. Temperature. When I talk about temperature, I am referring to the colours I see. Am I seeing warm colours like reds, orange and yellows, or am I seeing cooler colours like blues, blue purples and blue greens? Neutrals, which are classed as greys, browns, blacks and whites, can be both warm and cool. Seeing temperature in your neutrals is extremely challenging, but gradually you can train your eye to see this colour. Use grey and white cards to help you. Hold these up to your reference photo and ask yourself if you see red, yellow or blue in your neutral colours. This will help you know what colours you need to mix. Let's have a look at the palette I used. This was cadmium yellow light, yellow ochre light, transparent yellow oxide, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, transparent red oxide, cerulean blue, ultramarine deep, and titanium zinc white. I have mixed up a few other colours, a black red and a black green. These two give me my black when mixed together. A purple, 2 oranges and another green. As stated before, the form in this brown area is controlled through shifting between warm and cool brown. Remember, brown is made by mixing opposite colours on the colour wheel together. So orange plus blue, red plus green and purple plus yellow. My warm brown will be predominantly these top colours, reds and oranges. So I will mix these with blues and greens to give me my browns. What I choose depends on my value, the colour hue of my brown, e.g. am I looking at an orange brown or a red brown, and the saturation of my colour. So if I'm dealing with a red brown, I will mix about 75% red with about 25% green. If I am seeing an orange brown, I will mix 75% orange plus about 25% blue. Each colour combination will give me a different brown, so you may need to experiment with colour charts if you are unfamiliar with making your own brown. If my brown becomes cooler, I can add my blues or greens, so they become maybe 60% of the mix and my warms are 40% of the mix. By working with a warm and cool palette, it makes it easier to create my temperature shifts and gives my cat's head a sense of form. My whites behave exactly the same, except I need to add white to the mix. For example, purple plus yellow plus white will give me a range of beautiful greys. Orange plus blue plus white will also give me some lovely greys too. If I want my greys to be warmer, I will add warmer colours like yellows and oranges. If I want them to be cooler, I'll add more blue or purple. Shifting between warm and cool temperatures will help me create form in my painting. Focal hierarchy. Once you understand the principles of value, edges and temperature, the trick to creating believable realism is knowing where to place them and create a hierarchy of distribution between detail, value contrast, edge sharpness, colour saturation and texture. You don't want to try and show everything everywhere. Be selective. For example, in this painting, there is very little information in the fur. Instead, I have opted for block colour and pulled edges. I have saturated my colours in very few areas, but instead have focused my attention on my cat's face through strong contrast and soft edges. So that's the real secret behind realism. It's not about obsessing over every hair or every tiny detail. It's about understanding how we see. The big shapes first, the value relationships, the temperature shifts, and those carefully controlled edges. When you place those elements with intention, the realism takes care of itself. If you focus on these fundamentals, you can create paintings that feel alive and believable, even with surprisingly little detail. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like and subscribe and check out my website sarahhallidayart.com, where you will find examples of my work and details of online classes that I run. Thanks for watching and see you for the next one.